and Plato, and up to even modern day alchemists, that water has a form or a shape. It's a little polyhedron. It's different than this one that has 20 triangles on it. It's called an icosahedron. And there's another shape that has to do with life force energy itself, which again I defined as prana, which is a Hindu term, or chi, which is a Chinese term, or ether, which is the ancient alchemist point of view, or tachyon, which is a more modern point of view coming out. They're all the same exact thing. There's no difference. They're life force energy itself, and it has a shape. And its shape is something called a pentagonal dodecahedron. It has 12 pentagons put together to form itself. Both of them are two of 5 very special shapes called the Platonic solids. And when you look at something that is equally related, though it doesn't seem to be, the DNA molecule, what has the DNA molecule got to do with these two forms? The DNA molecule is made up of nothing but water and prana. That's all it is. Icosahedron, dodecahedron. It's a reciprocal relationship that forms the double helical strand. At least mathematically and geometrically, it forms it. And so the very essence of life, of how life programs itself, seems to be connected with water and prana, or life force energy. In Georgia, about roughly 10 years ago, they discovered that in the human body, whenever there is an illness or disease, it is always surrounded by what's called unstructured water. And whenever there is a healthy cell, it is always surrounded by structured water. What's the difference? 1 electron. 1 electron, that's the only difference. The unstructured water has its electron, for one reason or another, has been stripped off, and it's the only difference between those two kinds of water. And we are living in a society that has done something that perhaps it's not fully understanding. We've put water through high-pressure pipes. Water moving through high-pressure pipes strips off the outer electrons and turns it into unstructured water. And so all the water that you're drinking that comes out of your faucet, if you drink that, is unstructured water associated with disease. Many people, when they discovered this, people like Patrick Flanagan and Walter Baumgartner and many of the water experts around the world began to realize, well, we've got to come back with structured water. So they began to create all these different ways of doing it. And it's amazing how many ways you can structure water. The easiest, simplest, most rapid way is just with a magnet. Water passes through a certain kind of magnet, bam, it structures it. And that was, I believe it was Patrick Flanagan who figured that one out, but I'm not sure. And so you can take like a swimming pool, if you put a hexagonal magnet on it and run it through there, and you don't have to, if you do it in the right way, if you do it properly, you don't even need to use anything in there because it will keep it fully structured, and you don't end up with all the bacteria, and it won't rip off the electrons. In other words, if you have unstructured water, say in your hot tub, and you've got a piece of metal that's in the, like a handle halfway in the water, you'll start noticing that there's pits all over the handle because the water wants that outer electron, and so it takes it from the metal and pits the metal. Literally takes the electron from the metal and puts it around itself because that's what it wants. It wants to be associated with life. Water running through a river or in a lake naturally is structured. In fact, you can take unstructured water and run it over rocks only about 20 feet, and the falling in the logarithmic spirals structures the water. You can take unstructured water in a jar and just go back and forth about 20, 30 times, and just the flowing back and forth will structure the water, which is the simplest, easiest, most healthiest way to do it if you don't have anything else around. And so there's been a huge debate and scientific awakening around water in the last 10 years or so, and what it all means. In Japan, about 15 years ago, they discovered a brand new water. They never even heard about it, never even knew it existed. And they discovered that when a baby is born, and it doesn't matter if it's human or a dog or cat or anything else, when a baby is born, its body is filled with a certain kind of water that's different than any other kind of water. And this water is now being called clustered water. If you look at it under a microscope, it looks like snowflakes, six-sided little patterns. And the baby's body, though it was born with this clustered water, after a short time, it drops it and it goes into a structured form. I'm not exactly sure how long that takes or when that takes. I don't know that little bit of information. And this clustered water, they're finding, is really extraordinary if you drink it. And there are people who sell this. There's all kinds of ways of getting it now. And it's becoming a big deal out in the world. I've been doing this myself to see what it is. It's amazing. It completely changes things in your body, but it's very slow. But if you drink it for 2 or 3 months, you begin to realize that there's something definitely changing within you. That's this water that I've been drinking right here, right now. It's clustered water. And it's a good thing. It appears to be a very, very good thing. The Japanese are way into it more than the Americans are. We're just becoming aware of it, of what it does. In Chile and Japan and a few other places, I believe Russia also, they've discovered something else, that you can add one more electron to the water and call it ionized water, and that it has amazing properties. Truly, truly amazing properties. And it does things that no one's ever seen before. And that research is continuing on all over the world right now. But recently, actually it was 14 years ago, in Turkey, there was a man there named Ayhan Dayak, who is a Sufi master, who has created, in some form or fashion, which he will not say exactly how he's doing this, a water that no one has ever seen before, and which is very, very difficult to explain. The difference in this water is it has 3 extra electrons. And this water is being called super ionized water. This water is going to change the world beyond anybody's imagination. We were never going to be the same when this water goes out. It's going to just sweep the world and do things that no one can you wouldn't even believe it. In fact, the scientists that have read the data don't believe it. They just don't believe it. Even when they see it with their eyes, they don't believe it, with what I'm about to tell you. And, but it's here. It's emerged into the world. What is this thing about electrons? Why is it so important? Well, it appears as though electricity and prana are related. There definitely appears to be a relationship between the two. It was Andrew Cross in 1837 who first discovered something that has been duplicated since then by people like Wilhelm Reich and in even more in modern day times, that appears to be almost like a miracle. You see, for a long time, we thought that life began in pools of water with nucleic acids and proteins that merged together and did all these kinds of things, right? This was the belief. It's no longer the belief in modern day science right now. They don't believe that anymore. They believe one thing, that it only takes 2 elements to come together to make life: water and electricity, period. It's all that's necessary. Nothing else. No molecules, no nothing else. And Andrew Cross in 1937 did an experiment. He put water into a container and he put a crystal in the water, and he ran a low voltage electricity through the water. And he left it there for a very, very long time, because initially nothing happens. A week went by, nothing, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, somewhere around a month or two, it takes a long time, this phenomenon begins to happen.